Hey friends, we have a fun game to play today. This game is called Guess That Sound. Guess that sound. So I'm going to play a sound and I want you to see if you can think what sound that is and figure it out. And then Barry is going to guess. We'll see if Barry can guess what the sound is. All right, Barry, are you ready for the first sound?
I'm ready.
All right, everybody, here's your first sound.
That is a yappy little dog.
That is true. That's a pretty easy one. I think that's a pretty easy one. All right, let's see what this one is.
That's running water. Sounds like a toilet flushing.
It is a toilet flushing. You're
Okay.
pretty good, Barry. All
okay,
right.
I'll take sounds for 300.
Okay, how about this one?
Blender?
It was a vacuum.
Okay.
Blender is a good guess. All right, try this one.
Fireworks?
That is fireworks.
Okay.
It's cool how these sounds can like take you places, right? To times you've watched fireworks, maybe. All right, how about this is, I think it's a pretty easy one.
Doorbell.
Doorbell. All right, this one I think the last two are actually a little harder. Let's see here.
Somebody walking outside.
It's a really good guess. It's scissors cutting paper.
Wow, I was so close.
Okay, here's the last one.
Somebody pretending to be an owl.
An actual owl, actually.
Wow, okay.
Okay, so that is a fun game. It really involves you using your ears and listening. And listening is really important when it comes to communicating with other people. And we should point out that if your hearing is challenged and you're not able to hear, your other senses get a lot stronger, and that helps you communicate with other people. But if you're able to hear, then listening equals almost half of your communication with the other people in your life, which is pretty big. And that makes me wonder, I hear these two words used a lot, listening and hearing. Barry, what's the difference between listening and hearing?
Well, I think, when people are saying things to you, you can hear them. If you have good ears, you can hear them and you know that they're talking and you're kind of paying attention. But if you're actively listening, there's a phrase that we use called actively listening. You're paying attention with all your senses, with your head and with your heart, as well as with your ears. And so you're really trying to tune in what the person says and really pay attention. And I think that the idea of active listening is really important if you're going to communicate with people. And it's kind of a way of slowing down and really kind of tune into what somebody's really trying to say rather than just hearing their words.
I think that's true. Hearing is just the sounds. Listening is actually trying to understand. And listening and understanding, I love the word understand because as we said, so much of your communication is about listening and understanding other people. And, we sometimes talk about peace and peaceful communication, and being able to really listen to someone is so important so that there's not a lot of confusion or disagreements. When you are listening, it's much more likely to be a peaceful communication, which I really, really like. And it sounds funny because listening is about your ears, but it can actually be about some of your other senses too. How does that work?
Well, one of the things I think we talk a lot about is body language, right? So when you actually get to be with someone in person, or sometimes when you're watching them on a camera like this, you can tell what's going on with a person beyond what they say. So I might say to you, "How you feeling today, Stacy?" And you say, "Oh, fine, I'm good." And I know that's not true. And so I'm hearing you say one thing, but with my active listening, I might say, "What's going on with you? You seem like you're a little down today." And I think that that's a part of listening too, is really using your senses, uh, kind of the way that it feels and the way that you're listening with your heart, especially when you're listening with a friend, but really with anybody. You want to listen with all your senses and see if you can connect with what's really going on with them.
So I don't know about you, but for me, sometimes listening is kind of hard. So if I am tired or hungry, it's harder to listen. If I'm trying to do more than one thing, like, I don't know if this has ever happened to you, if you're playing with your toys and watching TV and your mom starts talking to you, it's really hard to listen to your mom when you're doing all those other things. Sometimes I'm just kind of bored. I'm not that interested in what someone is saying, and that can make it really hard. Or as you get older, maybe you really disagree with what someone is saying, or you have judgment about what they're saying, and so you stop listening. There's a phrase, about sometimes we hear what we want to hear instead of what someone is actually saying. So, sometimes listening, active listening, like we're talking about, can be a little challenging, but there are some really good reasons to still do it, aren't there, Barry?
Yeah, well, I think, if you model listening and if you're a good listener, people are going to be more willing to listen to you. That's one of the most important things. Um, and if we really do want to understand other people, we've got to listen to them, right? And a lot of times we have our mind made up before somebody else talks about what we think about what they're saying. So it's going to help us get along and understand. And, making friends, nothing's more interesting if you're meeting a new person than asking them about themselves and listening and giving them an opportunity to be who they are rather than talking to them. So I think listening is a great way to make friends, and it's healthier for us too if we listen to other people and bring ourselves into the conversation in a way where we're actively seeing what the other person's trying to do, and we want to listen with our heart. I think that's a good way to look at it in a real simple way. I got ears, but I also got a heart, and I think my heart's going to tell me what someone's really trying to say.
Yep. Of all of those, I think I want to be a good listener so people listen to me. There are times I really want people to listen to me. So, that's the law of attraction right there. I want to put good listening out there so I have good listening coming back at me too. So we have one last game to play. But before we do that, as you think about this game and think about listening, we have some specific ideas about how to be a good listener. What are those ideas?
So I think one of the things is you want to make eye contact, right? When somebody's talking to you, you want to look at them. I think that's an important thing. We spend a lot of time looking at our phones, adults, and it's important when people are talking to us in person or when people are talking to us on these Zoom things that we maintain eye contact. I think that's important. It shows that we're listening. Another thing that we can do is we can sit up straight, and that can help us bring to a point of focus that we're really listening, and our whole body then gets the message we're listening. Um, Another thing we want to do is not interrupt when somebody else is talking, right? So that's kind of a habit that we just develop and that we work on, is that we don't interrupt when someone else is talking. And that's important, like when you're sitting in a circle at school or things like that, is that everybody's modeling a willingness to listen by not interrupting. And the last thing is, a great thing to do is to ask questions. When you want to know more about a person, ask questions. And one of the things that makes us most interesting when we're meeting new people is asking questions.
That's true. And asking questions is a great way to not have a disagreement. right? If you both think something else is happening, but you ask questions to make sure you both think the same thing is happening, that's a good thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, there are a lot of fun games that you can play to practice your listening. The game of Simon Says, right? In that game, you have to listen for the phrase Simon Says, or the game Freeze Dance, right? The music's playing, and when the music stops, you stop dancing. So you have to listen to the music. And then there's this game called Clap a Rhythm. So in this game, you have a person who's the clapper and they clap, and then the other people have to try and copy what they did. And there's some fun ways that you can do this. You can start with 1 clap and then 2 claps and then 3 claps and make each one longer. You can also make the claps more complicated. You can take turns being the person who sets the rhythm. This is a really easy one that you can play with your family. So I'm going to challenge Barry right now to do a couple of claps with, and you can clap along with us. All right. So here's the first one. All right, good job. Okay, here's another. All right, so you guys get the idea. It's really easy to play. You can play it anywhere, and it's going to help you with those listening skills. So we have an affirmation to leave you with today. Our affirmation is, I listen with my ears and my heart. I listen with my ears and my heart. All right, everybody. So happy to spend time with you. So long.